Hello, my friends. Jacob is here. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. I am so excited that you pressed play, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you that have subscribed and leave a little like or a little comment. It means the absolute world to me, and I try to get back to you, and I promise I will continue to do so. All right, today, wow, okay, like every day there's new WikiLeaks that are being unloaded, and I spent I spend hours scouring this site for new information. And today, not only just the most shocking and revealing WikiLeaks related to Bayer, Monsanto, the GMOs and the labeling laws, but more UFOs. Yeah, that's right. I've been keeping track of this, and today, they just dumped some, and nobody knows about this, so this is like a scoop, people. Today, you're in for a treat. We're also going to talk about the new Google DeepMind, the AI, Artificial Intelligence. It's really getting spooky. They didn't even think that we would be at this place right now. They didn't think that what this machine has accomplished would be even fathomable for the next 10 years. So technology is out of control, and so is this show. So buckle up, people, because you're in for a ride. So I did a video on GMOs, a really revealing video. I'll probably put a link below. If you haven't seen it yet, please do, because it really explains all of this stuff that's been going on and the amount of pesticides that they use and put into our foods. It's shocking. And all of this stuff with the Zika and all this is all a smokescreen, trying to keep these, big, horrible chemicals in our food, as opposed to doing it the organic way, which would be much healthier. But of course, it costs more. So anyway, a lot of emails were sent to Podesta because, of course, it's the election. And, we got to talk about all this stuff. We got to make it seem like we actually care, because these candidates, they got to talk one way in public, and then, of course, they do something else behind the scenes down the road. They really barely ever follow through. And that's just a disturbing thing, I know. But what else is new? But at least they're talking about it. And I got to tell you, I'm just going to share one email after another email, and it's just, it's pretty sad. I mean, even these people that are in these positions of power, they even said it. They said it in this beautiful one email that was sent to John Podesta from a peer. And it says, just talking about the global elites and how greedy they are and how terrible they are, and how that it's like a sci-fi movie where, the ignorant people like you and me, and everybody watching the video, that we're we have no idea what's going on, and we're being fleeced, we're being led to slaughter. In this email, it's very telling about what's going on. But that's not the only one. I mean, look, we know that you can't really trust a politician. I mean, just the fact that the people that are running now are still running. I mean, this is the best that this country has to offer. It's all right. Listen, I'm not choosing sides. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That's not my job. You got to, deal with your own feelings and deal with your own morality and your own spirituality and go within and make the choice that best suits you. But I got to tell you something. When really have we ever elected a leader that has actually done something for you and me? I don't know if you're like me, but I'm getting tired of seeing the holidays approaching and hearing about more big box stores like Target and Walmart and this, that, and the other thing, and how they're going to be opening and doing these big, these big events, and they're going to open earlier and earlier on Thanksgiving. There used to be laws against this stuff. There used to be a time when the working class had a right to be home with their family on Thanksgiving or on a holiday. There was a time when you'd get paid for the holiday. But now the corporations and these greedy, horrible monsters that are, behind the scenes running everything and saying, we can squeeze them for a little more and we can get them to work a little more. And they're our slaves anyway, right? Because that's what they think we are. And what are they doing? Now they're opening a little bit earlier on Thanksgiving. It's not enough that, last year they opened, you could have your Thanksgiving dinner at like 2 o'clock and then come into work at 3 and be there for the madness. And the sad thing is, we're all so brainwashed and ignorant, and we think, if we don't go on this day, we're not going to get that super sale. And we're going to save that 10% that they can give us on any other day of the week anyway. Well, I'll tell you what'll happen. If nobody shows up on a holiday, if no one goes and shops, and I encourage all of you to stay away from retail stores on holidays. You know what? Because if nobody shows up, guess what happens? They won't do it anymore. We need to send a clear message to those that are in control, because guess what's happening? People that are in control, Congress and the politicians, they don't care. And you can send them as many emails as you want. Everybody is ruled by these big entities like Bayer Monsanto and more of the WikiLeaks that we find about these GMOs. Wow, Podesta's emails, they were just loaded with stuff about GMOs. And it was all about the labeling laws, because, and I talked about this in the other video. Please go watch that after this. So here's the deal, right? It would be very simple to just, label the box GMO. That's it, just a stamp. GMO, very simple, not that expensive. But you know what? What they're doing is, Obama just signed this thing, and that's what it's called. It's like Obama, poisoning America or whatever. I don't know what I titled it. But, he signed this thing basically to preempt states from basically making laws that protect us. The people, we want to know what's in our food. We want to know. We don't want to be eating food that is just filled with pesticide. We want to know whether or not the DNA was genetically modified to kill the insects that munch on the plants. We want to know these things. But so what do? The federal government, what do? Well, they just signed this thing. So now, they're going to have a little QVC, a little barcode, right? So now boxes are going to have these little barcodes. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be scanning to see if a product has GMOs or not. And these emails that you see again and again and again, like this one, explaining how difficult it would be and how, the manufacturers are going to have to provide stores with scanners and then maintenance of the scanners. And it's like this crazy, complex, ridiculous red tape that they're trying to implement, and they're going to implement just so you and me and all of us in the Americas, right? Well, we just can stay blind and just consume any poison that they see fit to put into our, our corn puffs or whatever else we eat. A lot of people want to talk about how Assange is some big traitor and of course, once these leaks came out, of course, this guy has to hide and everything else. Isn't it sad that we live in a country where transparency just doesn't exist, where backroom dealings are basically status quo, and that, all these big companies like Monsanto just send millions of dollars to campaigns, right? Take a look. Now you tell me, when you're getting millions of dollars from these companies, and we know that from all these other WikiLeaks that it's always been like a pay-for-play thing. I mean, really, what chance do any of us stand to get a fair shake? I don't think much of one. And that's kind of sad. But you know what else is sad? It's sad that we're continuing to create technology that is not only probably going to be spooky, dangerous, and scary in the future for all of us, but is already putting a ton of us out of work. So many people are out of work today because they have machines that do it, right? And we just keep building machines to take more and more jobs away. Well, this latest breakthrough with Google DeepMind, I don't know if you know anything about Google DeepMind, but it's basically a branch where they're creating artificial intelligence. Well, huge breakthrough a while ago. This machine basically beat a master in the Chinese game of Go. Now, we've heard about computers beating chess masters, but you see, Go relies a lot on intuition, and it has a lot to do with, like, as you're playing it, you can't just use an algorithm to just calculate all the moves on tape, because there's like billions of moves and billions of possibilities, so much more so than a game like chess. So the fact that this computer, this artificial intelligent computer, beat this master says something. It says that computers now, they can think, and they're thinking a lot like us.
Because it looks like he is still counting.
No, I think he resigned.
Wow, I think you're right. Wow. Wow.
This was the moment a computer called AlphaGo beat a master of the ancient Chinese game Go. It's not the first time a grandmaster's been humbled by a machine. But what makes AlphaGo different is that it's the first demonstration that machines can truly learn and think in a human way. AlphaGo's victory shocked experts in the artificial intelligence community.
Think about how really intimidating it is. The moment that this thing goes online, they give it a game to play. They start giving it games to play, and they say, okay, play the game. And you're going to see in the video in a second, you're going to see how it starts off playing, and it's pretty terrible. But they let it learn. They basically let it play for another 8 hours. It plays against itself, right? It learns. And by the morning when they came in, superhuman in 1 day's time.
The reinforcement that DeepMind uses is model-free, meaning that it doesn't need a structure or set of rules to learn. According to MIT's take on the Google algorithm, the neural network, in theory, should be able to access an external memory in a manner that mimics the short-term memory of the human brain. In a way, it almost seems like our brain's design might be the most efficient way for the creation of local intelligence. Who would have guessed? So that's all good. What about this general purpose term? What does that actually mean? Well, because the machine learns from raw experience and data, it can perform well across a wide variety of tasks, straight out of the box. Okay, so that's enough talk. Let's watch the system in action, learning how to play Breakout. And remember, the machine didn't have any foreknowledge as to what task it was going to complete. It had to figure out how to do everything only from its own experience.
Is the machine before training. So this is literally the first time the machine has ever seen this data stream, and it's controlling the green rocket here, and you can see it's losing its 3 lives immediately. So it's basically terrible at the game, as you would expect. Now, after training, this is like overnight. We leave it playing the game overnight on a normal computer, so for about 8 hours. You come back in the morning, and now it's superhuman level. So now the machine can play Space Invaders better than any human can. It's modeled the world, the game world, so well. It knows where the Space Invaders will be ahead of time. So as the Space Invaders speed up, when you get less of them on the screen, it fires the final shot as a kind of predictive shot of where the final Space Invader will be in a few seconds.
There are people like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking and other great minds that say very clearly, look, this is not a good idea. And let me tell you why it's not a good idea. Because if you can have an artificial intelligence that's hooked up to, the internet, just imagine the possibility. And if it can learn, and learn in such an extraordinary rate, what chance do we really have? And they want to implement this in pretty much every area, from consumer service from customer service to, banking to anything. They basically want to put a computer there, and it's going to put so many people out of work. And not just that, but we're slowly but surely losing our humanity, and we're going towards this thing called the singularity where, man and machine become one. There's a whole movement called transhumanism, which is just really god-awful and scary. And it just seems like we're all living in a time now, unlike any other before it. We're living in a time now where we may not only just lose our jobs, we may lose our place in the world completely. And it's not a far stretch to think that, some kind of artificial intelligence would, consider the real problem here is us, because we're already far behind and lacking in intelligence. I gotta tell you, it's spooky interesting and spooky weird and spooky scary at the same time. And I think it's a bad idea. But you know what? I thought CERN was a bad idea. I think colliding atoms is a bad idea. I think that creating mini black holes and opening parallel dimensions is a bad idea. I think the D-Wave computer is a bad idea. I think all of this stuff that's going down is a bad idea. And I'm sure a lot of you do too. I think people lying to us and keeping us in the dark about things, especially in space and things that are heading our way, I think that's a bad idea. I think people deserve the right to know. But what are we going to do, right? So let's go back to some more WikiLeaks. Because I got to tell you, this was a cool one. I printed it up. I took some excerpts from this one email that is just insane. Okay, a lot of the emails that I'm going to show you. A lot of them. There's a lot of talk about UFOs because this guy Podesta is really into this stuff. But this one email that just came across today. Wow, man. We're talking Bermuda Triangle explanations in a roundabout way. So I'm going to read this to you, okay? And I'm going to keep the man's name. I'm not going to tell you who it is, and I'm not going to share the email address. If you want anything that I say here, just go to WikiLeaks and just do a search. You can find this email for yourself. Someone did it, and now I'm telling you. So anyway, this gentleman who is close with Mr. Podesta writes, I did work with Fort Meade on several classified communication projects. In that TS/SCI building, cafeteria in El Segundo, I had lunch with a senior USAF NCO who had worked on Project Blue Book. Yeah, it was disbanded, right? Supposedly disbanded? Okay, so anyway, he was an ELINT technician, an electronics intelligence officer, who flew in RC-135s from MacDill AFB in Florida. He said there were times, now this is cool, he said there were times when they were diverted from these missions to track UFOs. Off the east coast of Florida. Huh? You know what's down there? The claim was the UFOs had a landing and a takeoff spot in the ocean east of Miami, north of Bermuda. Bermuda Triangle, anyone? He also claimed there was a specific electronic signature, a frequency emanating from them when they were going into the water and coming out of the water. So supposedly, the government knows about all this. And also Project Blue Book, I guess, is still around, which he goes on to say. He said on several occasions they filmed the UFOs as it transitioned from the water to the air and vice versa. One last item is he was occasionally assigned to fly in a USAF weather aircraft, WC-135, when they had a hurricane hunting mission over the usual UFO area, where his specific assignment was kept secret from other crew members. But he would always report back to a dedicated USAF intelligence officer on base when they returned from the mission. They caught lots of high-definition film. So, Blue Book was not disbanded. It was only the outer layer of the onion. You know, he writes in the public information layer that was stripped away back in the 70s. So my point is, people, we're being lied to about pretty much everything. Not just UFOs, not just what they're really planning to do with our food, but about everything. This whole world is like one corrupt, deceptive machine, if you will. And we need to educate ourselves. We need to seek, I talk about this a lot. We got to follow those little breadcrumbs that come across our path and see where they lead us. Because the truth is, there is good news for all of us. This whole script that is playing out before us, I know a lot of people are worried about the days to come because it's frightening. I was going to do a video on ritual and how spooky it is and how, they were killing chickens in the city for this Jewish ritual. And how in Myanmar, three children, babies, were murdered in a black magic ritual. And people just kind of, just watched, and they were in some kind of a trance because the wizard or the, whatever, the high priest gave them some funky thing to drink, and they were all zoned out of their mind as their children were being murdered because he said they were possessed with demons. All this ritual that we, no matter what religion it is, there is some sort of ritual that's attached to it. And it comes with a cost, people. The people that are in charge, the people that are in power, those people rarely care about you, and they rarely care about little old me. They care about that mighty dollar that they've all put their faith in that is really backed with nothing. It's make-believe. It's not even a gold standard anymore. They put their faith in wealth and greed. And they think that we can just, that we'll just continue to be ignorant and sit back and just go along with the program and watch the latest reality show and not look into these matters ourselves and not vote and demand for transparency and seek individuals to lead us that actually care about us. They believe that we're just going to continue to go on this path that is set for our total enslavement. The world's on the edge of war, and it's all because of greed. Nobody wants war, no matter what country it is. The majority of the people on this planet want peace. They want food on their table. They want security. They want peace and joy, and they want to be surrounded by love. And I believe that's possible. But I believe the only way it's possible is if we all find out the truth artificial intelligence, it's not going to set us free, you know. But what will set us free is seeking the truth for ourselves and saying, teach me the truth no matter what the cost. Seek, my friends, and the door will be opened, and there is great possibility waiting for you all. The power of life and death is in your tongue. It's in your mind. So start thinking better thoughts, start creating a better life, and start seeking a better day. One that is ruled by love and peace and joy and hope. And I will talk to you all next week. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for spending time with me, and have the best week ever. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon.